So today, you guys, welcome to my webinar. I absolutely freaking love sharing my knowledge with you guys. I absolutely love just giving you guys the opportunity to learn what real contest prep can be like, how it can empower you, how it can make you just a better athlete, whether it's your first time stepping on the stage or whether this is like your 20 millionth time doing it. You know, I didn't really understand when I used to hear folks say that every contest prep is different, that every time you step on the stage, and I want to just bring you up and talk to you guys for a minute, actually. Hold on, let me come back to this. I want to come back to this. But every time you step on the stage, it's different. Every time you embark on a new program, it's different. And I didn't quite understand that until I actually started going through contest prep myself. And then until I started to actually work with clients one-on-one and do it over multiple times in a season and stuff like that, to see that how much a diet can change, how much things actually need to be tweaked and pushed around to make things come together. So today I want to get into the nitty-gritty of that stuff and the things you need to take away to have a great prep yourself. And I'm going to go over 5 specific strategies to make this all come together for you and to be absolutely A1. So let's get into this right now. Who is this webinar for? Because it's not necessarily for everyone. And if it's not for you, I don't want to waste your time. But if it's for you, you're going to want to listen to every single word I have to say today. So today's discussion is for those of you who either currently compete or you're interested in competing, or you just want to go about a smarter way to use nutrition to bring your best physique to the stage. And I put the word nutrition in caps because I think when we think about contest prep dieting, we think about that, dieting. We think about depravity. We think about going as low as we can with calories instead of finding out ways we can truly nurture and feed our bodies and still get an amazing result. And you guys, it is 100% possible. I promise you. And I'm going to tell you how in this webinar. So today is very specifically, though, for any of you out there who are female competitors, or if you're guys that are watching, if you work with female competitors. I know a lot of times some guys have questions about how to bring a female competitor into her show and do it properly and not screw up her hormones and everything like that. So, but mainly the folks that I talk to, my demographic, and those of you who are out there listening to me, I'm talking to you right now. You guys are female competitors and you compete in figure, physique, or bikini across any federation there is. It doesn't matter where you compete. It's all pretty much the same advice. You may be coaching yourself. A lot of you out there are working on your own. I worked on my own when I started too. I had no coach. So you may be working on your own and you want to know more about how to go about this stuff the right way. That is so important. You may have a coach now and you just want to know more about the dieting aspect of the game. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like every coach is the same. Unfortunately, not every coach is Coach Roxie. And me, I personally, you ask any of my clients, they will tell you that I absolutely love to share my knowledge. And if they ask me why, honey, I will tell them why. I will write them a long paragraph. I will show them videos that I've done where I talked about it, articles, dissertations, paragraph, whatever. My thing is that the more you understand, the better you can execute your plan. But not every coach is like that. Some of them, you ask them a question, they give you a one-worded answer. Like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? Or they tell you to just be quiet and follow the plan. And that doesn't really lead you to understand what's going on. And I think that for those of you out there, especially who are seasoned competitors, it's important to know the whys. Why something is working. Why are you being told to do something? And whoever you hire should be able to answer that. And if they're not, you're here and I'm going to answer some of those things, hopefully for you, and give you a better idea of what you should be doing with your own stuff. Now, this is either for those of you who are in prep or you are about to prep for a show, or you may be off season and you're simply trying to figure out the best way to set up a diet for you and your goals. So that's who this webinar is for. So now that we kind of clear that up, I want to actually get into discussing what we're going to discuss today. What the heck are we doing here, Roxie? Well, let me tell you. We are going to be talking about exactly what a healthy contest prep diet is and if that is even a real thing, because I do have some very strong opinions about that, and I'll share that with you in a minute. What's the best dieting strategy for fat loss? All while keeping muscle on during your prep, because if you're going to lose muscle in prep, you might as well just not do this stuff at all, right? Next thing we're going to discuss, can one follow a flexible dieting approach, or if it fits your macros, and still come in lean and ready? Is it possible to diet flexibly? Is it possible to enjoy what you're actually eating and prep and look good? I have an opinion on that, and we's gonna talk about it. We're gonna also talk about how you should incorporate cheat meals into your program and when you should drop them. I say this all the time. If you ain't cheating on your diet, then you ain't dieting. Because what happens with the body is that you hit stalls, and you gotta be able to get over them and get past them. And the only way that you can do them is by dieting intelligently and including cheat meals to a degree on your program. And I'm gonna teach you how to do that and do it the smart way, the rock star way. And then finally, we're going to talk about what's the secret to structuring your peak week to make sure that you don't spill and you come in looking absolutely on point. That is the most important, part of the game, because if you don't peak properly, you don't look good. And if you don't look good, then you ain't going to win nothing. So you just did all that prepping for nothing. So we're going to talk about how to get your life and get it together in there. So let me just go ahead and just go over this, because there are people who stumble upon this video, or, when I share this video on my Facebook page and stuff like that, there are going to be people who actually don't know me, and that's totally normal. So before I can go off and tell you anything about what I know folks is out there looking at me like, well, who the hell is this bee? And why she thinks she can tell me anything? Well, honey, let me tell you who the hell I am, who the hell I be, and why I am talking at all. Why is this chick talking? Okay, first of all, my name is Roxie Beckles, for those that don't know me. And I am an IFBB pro. I earned my pro card at Team Universe in 2013, and that was after competing for 3 years. So I had a pretty quick ascension through the ranks from amateur to pro. I've been a personal trainer and an online coach specializing specifically in female competitors since 1997. So I've been working in this industry hands-on in the trenches, paying my dues, working with clients and getting up in the morning and doing all that stuff, paying my dues since 1997, and I haven't stopped, and I love what I do. I love seeing people, take the knowledge that I have to share with them and to come with me like feeling not so great about themselves and being able to work with them and change their bodies. I mean, how many of you are sitting there right now, like sitting on the fence, like wishing you're watching this video, hoping to glean something from me, but knowing that things are not working for you and you're frustrated? And, one of the things that I love to do is take people's problems and take a look at them and solve them. That's what I love, and that's what I've been blessed to do since 1997. I competed at the Olympia in my rookie year as a pro. My first year on the pro level as an official pro, I made it to the Olympia, and that's a blessing in and of itself. Listen, I didn't place in the top 5, but I was among the top 16 competitors in the entire world, and that's a big deal. And it was an amazing experience that I would never trade for anything. And I set that goal from the time I stepped on my first competitive stage. I knew what I wanted, and I was able to achieve it, and it was a beautiful thing. So I coach clients from around the globe, and I help them to bring their best to the stage as well. And, now that I don't compete anymore, for me, it's kind of like, I'm like a stage mom. I get to actually kind of live vicariously through my clients, make them look fierce, get their bodies right and tight, and then put them on that stage and let them win the trophies, let them win the overalls, let them win the pro cards, and then I get to just sit back, eat my burger, and enjoy it. So anyway, I don't always eat burgers, but you get what I mean. I have a passion for what I do, and I love to see my clients do nothing more than achieve their stage dreams and goals, just like I have. I mean, when I first started competing, like I said earlier, you guys, I coached myself, and figuring out the game was really super hard. I mean, there's so much information out there. You don't know where to turn. So a lot of the stuff that I teach you guys, that I'll be going over, that I do with my clients, this was stuff that was literally trial and error. It was working. It was pulling on my knowledge and my certifications as a sports nutritionist, but nothing prepares you for learning what's on the bodybuilding stage. It's nothing that you can actually study. It's stuff that you just have to do, and you have to develop over time, to tell you the truth. And that's what makes this stuff so hard. But you know what, though? I was able to win overall trophies along the way and top 5 placings on the national level, all through self-coaching, guys. So I've done it myself. You can do it yourself if you're out there. And if you decide to hire a coach, you got to know what's right, what's wrong, and what's simply right for you so you can make the smarter choice and not put your health in jeopardy, not put your health in somebody else's hands that doesn't know what they're doing. Everybody out there today is a coach, and you've got to be careful. You've got to come armed with knowledge. You've got to come armed knowing what to look for and what to run from, so that way you can do this stuff the same way and not come out with health issues. And this is happening time and again, guys. So if anything you walk away with from this presentation, from this webinar, is the ability to know what the hell is going on, point blank. And what I had, and basically that was the last point that I made on here. What I have to share with you today will give you the tools you need to be successful with your own prep plans, and hopefully give you some clarity about what you need to do to reach your best. So let's jump right in. You ready? All right. If you have questions throughout the broadcast, go ahead and type them into the chat box. And I will go ahead and make sure to answer your questions at the end of the broadcast and make sure that we I want to cover all your bases and have you actually walk away learning something. So what exactly is a healthy conscious prep diet? And is that even a quote unquote thing? So I have some strong opinions about this. And before I go into the stuff that I have on the screen here, I want to just take a step back and say to you that the bodybuilding sport is actually pretty deceptive, okay? And the reason why I say it's deceptive is because even though you're in the gym, you're training, you're working out, you're dieting, it's not necessarily healthy for the body. Your body is not designed to be super lean. It just isn't. And that's why if you've been coaching yourself or working on your own, or even just going on a diet, like just trying to lose fat and whatever, and do it yourself, the reason why it's so hard is because your body is actually designed to resist that. Your body just sees you as starving. It's in starvation mode. Your body gives not a damn about your six pack. Your body gives not a damn about your waist, your hip size, your thighs. It don't care. It just wants you to survive on the deep cellular level. So now take that knowledge and add to that the fact that you're trying to get it to go to levels it's not wanting to or designed to, the super low body fat levels, being lean, cut up, and all that other stuff. This picture of me on the screen is from me when I was my first rookie season as a pro. This was the Olympia year. I mean, that was hard work. Can I tell you that I woke up every single morning of this show right here, went off and placed third in this show. The next show I did after this, 2 weeks later, I placed second in to one of the top girls in the physique division that year. And I was so hungry that I would fall out of the bed. I would crawl to the kitchen. My kitchen is not around the corner. I had to crawl down the hallway to the kitchen on my hands and knees just to put almonds in my mouth, to be able to stand up to make breakfast to start my day. You guys, this stuff can mess you up if you do not do it right. This stuff can hurt your metabolism, your hormones, everything, if you put your health in the hands of the wrong coach. That is why I'm here talking to you today. I want to prevent that. But listen, hunger is not nothing you can prevent it. It don't matter who the hell you work with. But I was hungry, okay? So the extremes of the sport are real. It's not necessarily healthy, but we can do this in a smart way. So when I say, is a healthy conscious prep diet possible? I will say yes, with that caveat, knowing that we're going to push to an extreme, but you got to do it in a smarter way. So for my clients, a healthy conscious prep diet is one that considers a client's current stats, their physical activity level, how much they're working up, the cardio, the weight training, all that stuff, their day job. Do they sit all day? Do they move around? What? That stuff factors in. Their overall goals, and I put on here getting on the stage. Duh, right? So that's what our overall goal is in that moment. And their likes, dislikes, sensitivities, and allergies. It's a plan that focuses on one thing and one thing only. And before I get to that one thing, let me backtrack. So let me ask you a question right now. How many of you are currently working with a coach who has you on a plan where you're eating the same thing every day? Maybe that same thing is tilapia and asparagus, and you have 12 weeks, 10 weeks out. You're not eating any carbs, none. You might eat a couple of vegetables. Maybe they'll even be nice and give you, I don't know, 10 raspberries. I saw that on a plan one time, 10 raspberries. What the entire hell? Okay. How many of you are working with a coach who puts food on your plan that you hate, and you told them you hate it, you don't like it? Why do you have to eat that? Because they said so. Because you have to. Because you don't want it bad enough if you don't. What in the hell is that? That's not coaching, you guys. Wise up. That's not coaching. I never do that to a client. Ever. Ever. And they still come out looking amazing. And now this is where I can go on to say a healthy contest prep diet is a plan that focuses on one thing and one thing only, keeping you in a caloric deficit enough to see fat loss, but to keep muscle on, and allowing you to keep as many calories in your plan as realistically possible, all while getting results. Now that sounds a little Greek, but let me break it down to you in a way that you can understand, okay? So here's what I mean. If you've ever been on a 500 calorie diet, if you've ever been on an 800 calorie diet, if you've ever been on a 1,000 calorie diet, if you've ever been 180 pounds and you're eating 1,200 calories a day and doing 2 hours of cardio on top of that, honey, you are not being dieted correctly and you are not dieting correctly. What you're doing is starving yourself. What you're doing is wasting away muscle. What you're doing is slowing down your metabolism. What you're doing is making it impossible to get to your goals. Because any of us who knows how this game works will tell you that the most important thing, the thing that leads to fat loss is, yes, it's being in a caloric deficit, but it's having enough food on your plan to allow your body to be gently coaxed. Let me say it again, gently coaxed into being better, into doing better, into losing fat, into keeping muscle. That is what bodybuilding is. Bodybuilding in the contest prep phase is about keeping muscle on while dropping as much fat as possible. Now, it's not rocket science, but it is a science. That's something that I specialize in. That's something that I've been working with every single client to get and perfect with them. That is why my clients usually spend a good amount of time in a sound off season where we raise calories up super high, well above 2,000 calories a day, 2,200, 2,300, 26, 2,800. I actually had a client eating 3,200 calories a day. I kid you not. She was eating 3,200 calories a day and she was not gaining fat. We were putting on some serious muscle. Naturally, we were putting on some serious muscle. But when it was time to diet, girlfriend was losing fat on 2,000 calories a day, 2,100 calories a day. Why? Because we worked her metabolism up. So as you can see, it's not about that low calorie number. That's not what's going to necessarily push fat loss. It's being in a deficit below what you're used to. So when you train smart, eat smart, and do smart, that's when you're going to start seeing your body take off and you reach your goals like never freaking before. The other thing I really want you to keep in mind when I'm talking about this is that you must eat to be lean, you guys. My clients hear me say this a lot. You actually probably hear me say this a lot if you watch my YouTube videos and stuff, but you've got to eat to be lean. Food is your greatest ally. It's not your worst enemy. And if you use nutrition, you will see better results. Now, I have this picture up here of 3 of my athletes. I have Carolyn Kimmel. I've got Samantha Tao. Carolyn is on the left. Samantha's in the middle. And Amy is on the right. All 3 of these women earned their IFBB Pro cards with me. Carolyn was 52 years old when she earned her IFBB Pro card. She's the one that's on the left. She is 52 years old as of that picture. She won her class. She won the overall in her age category. She went down to the next age category, placed second in there, went to the open and placed 6th against women half her age. Guys, you must eat to be lean. Let's read that again. Samantha Tao in the middle there. She earned her IFBB Pro card as well. She also earned her WBFF Pro card with me as well. And this was after having worked with another coach and having experience and all this other stuff. And Sam has been with me for a long time. You must eat to be lean. Do you see how lean she is? That wasn't starving. That was smart dieting. Amy Watson, her story, 11 times she tried to turn pro. She did 11 national qualifiers, you guys. 11. How many have you done? How many do you plan to do? How is your mental state? Are you strong enough? Do you have that tenacity to make it come to a reality? I looked at Amy. I said to her, in one season, we're going to get this card. You have too much of a beautiful shape to not be an IFBB Pro. And if I have to do everything in my power to get you there, I will. We don't use politics. I don't kiki with anyone. I don't give a damn about kissing judges' butts and stuff like that. I'm going to put my clients up there after having worked their tails off, literally. And that's how we get ahead. There's no politics over here. I don't play politics. Nobody knows that I'm over here in this corner doing anything. And they don't know who my clients are when they step on stage. It is eating to be lean. It's smart dieting. So let's go ahead and explore exactly what that means. So yes, you guys, to answer your question, yes, you can do a healthy contest prep diet and you can look amazing with it as well. In fact, the 3 women that you see on my screen right now, on your screen rather right now, are 3 of my recent competitors who competed at North Americans. And on the left, we've got Clara. She is a women's physique competitor. Look how dry and shredded she is. That was smart dieting, you guys. Megan's in the middle. She was struggling to get her placings up on North Americans. We can only do 2 shows for her to turn pro because she's Canadian. And her body just, she's got a body that was a little bit tough to come in and to get to this level of leanness. We got her up to the top 10. I mean, that's amazing. And that lineup was deep. It was really competitive. And this was coming off of no placings twice that she's done that show. No placings in North Americans. One of the hardest shows that you can actually do as a competitor is the North Americans. We did it, eating to be lean. And to the right over there in the model pose is Renee Porter. Now, I've got an interesting story about Renee. Renee has been also another client who's been trying to turn pro. And she actually was in the lineup against one of my former clients, like about maybe 4 years ago now. And so I've seen Renee on stage, which is crazy because my client was in the top 5 and Renee was like, I don't know where she placed in that, but she didn't win the pro card. But she was like in the like top 1 or 2. I think it was Junior Nationals, Junior USA, where you have to win the overall to turn pro, and she didn't win the overall. But anyway, so she took a long time off, and Renee is actually a trainer at my gym. So I see her all the time. When I found out, she introduced herself to me, and I found out she's a competitor. I was like, okay, so when are you going to go out there? I've been hounding this girl, like, let's go. And she finally said, okay, Rox, I'm going to do it. I need your help to do it. So I had 5 weeks to bring her to this look for the stage, and she wasn't ready, honey. But I was like, we're going to carb cycle. I'm going to feed you. She ate the most she's ever eaten in an entire prep. She was eating waffles. She was eating waffles, y'all, okay? She was eating yams and this, that, the other. And this was like, we had 5 weeks. I had 5 weeks to get this girl into a pro shape. I was like, you will turn pro this show if I freaking have to lose my damn finger. Honeys, ladies, we did it. Renee went into that show. She brought her best luck ever to this stage, and she was rewarded for it by earning her IFBB pro card. And she is so happy, so happy. So when I'm telling you these things, you guys, I'm showing these to you as examples of what does work. They're case studies, basically, and they are testaments to the fact that the stuff that I'm about to teach you right now works. So I don't want you to doubt it. I want you to see that the real world evidence, because at the end of the day, that's what's the most important. So what's the best dieting strategy for fat loss, all while keeping muscle on during your prep? You ask? Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. The diet that works for you, girls. Ladies, it's the diet that works for you. There is no voodoo. There is no magic. There is no formula that's like out there that's like that you can't figure out. That's like, these coaches out here, man, they make everything seem like it's like some kind of crazy, like, oh, you got to eat white fish for like 12 weeks to make your skin thin. What? Really? Because that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. You got to do keto because that's the only way to go. You can't do this. You can't do that. But everybody's body is different. So how are you going to fit everybody into the same box and expect them to be great? Don't work like that. So the best diet for a contest prep plan to get you going is the diet that works for you always. There is no one way to skin a cat. None whatsoever. In advance now of starting your prep diet, this is what I do want you to do. I want you to give yourself a good 4 to 6 weeks of doing a mini cut. So try out different protocols and just see what works best for you. And I wouldn't do that like too close to your actual like prep start date. Do it like, a couple of months out, a couple of weeks out from that. And just do it to tweak things and to see how your body responds. This way you're not like having to diet for a long time going into your show if you do it like right then and there. Plus, this is supposed to be a time that you're doing it to figure out what works. So this could be months in advance, figuring out what works. And see, that way when you're ready to embark on your contest prep plan and you're ready to program, boom, you know what works. So if you're about to start working with a coach, one of the things I ask all of my clients is, what works for you? What do you know works for you? So if you tell me that I really diet best on a ketogenic kind of approach, keeping my carbs low and my fats high, I'm not going to just say, well, the best way to do things is with a high carb diet. So we're going to put you on a high carb diet because that's what I know works. And that's what I do with all my clients. No, it doesn't work like that. So if you know, and you have a coach that cares about you, like the way I care for my clients, they're going to listen to you and actually consider it when putting together your plan. So go in there armed knowing. All the science and the evidence, you guys, actually points to the fact that it's not about a specific diet. It really isn't. At the end of the day, it is simply about finding the right deficit overall that works best. So there are studies out there that have already explored this. There are studies out there that have already actually said, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter what macros you have because macros at the end of the day is just a part of the equation. It's really the overall caloric deficit that does it. Boom. Several studies out there that say that. A couple just came out recently. So don't get hooked up on macros and be willing to abandon and change and to sometimes high carbs just works well for you and that's what you go with. Sometimes low carb works and that's what you go with. Sometimes keto works, that's what you go with, whatever. But don't get married to a single thing because you'll just end up getting yourself stuck into a box. Now, there is a genetic component to all of this. And that's where the macros do come to play. Some people are more insulin resistant, so a low carb or even a keto approach may be best. Some women out there, some of you ladies out there, are you are you dealing with like PCOS or anything like that? Any kind of hormonal issues, thyroid issues and stuff like that? Oftentimes, you guys might benefit well from doing a lower carb, higher fat kind of approach to get your fat loss going. Hopefully, if you have any of these issues, you are talking to a medical professional, a doctor, who can help you to get your hormones back on track. But that's what helps for you guys. That's the setup that actually works to lose fat. So why would you be eating a high carb diet if it doesn't work for you? Some folks actually really do good on a high carb diet. Like I have people who have super high metabolisms. They're like ectomorphs. There's those really thinner frames and smaller frames. They do really well on high carb diets. And so I wouldn't throw them onto a low carb plan just to do it, just because that's what everyone says works, quote unquote. You got to be smart. And one of the other ones that works really well that I love is carb cycling. Carb cycling is a really great way. And I'm going to get into carb cycling in a little bit and how I use it and how it actually can help you out with your peak. We're going to talk about that. So now the trick though, you guys, the trick is to know your body and simply follow what it best responds to. That's what it is, number one, point blank. So it's not about a specific setup. It's about knowing what works best for you, what it responds to, and sticking to it. And then the last thing that I want to say before I move on, which is super important, it kind of leads back to what we talked about a minute ago, eating to be lean. Do not cut calories super low. Please do not. My heart drops when I hear people talking about being on 500 calories a day, 800 calories, 1,000 calories, 2 hours of cardio, and wondering why things are not working. I mean, if that's you and you're listening to this right now, my question is, when are you going to stop? You know in your heart when things are not working. You know in your heart when somebody gives you a meal plan that doesn't feel right. And you got to trust your gut, you guys. You're giving your most precious gift, your life, your health, your sanity. You're putting that in the hands of someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And you have an inkling of that. And you just continue to follow through because, oh gosh, I guess I already paid. I got to do it. No. Chalk it up to experience if you can and just walk away. Find someone who really will work for you. Or at least talk to that person and tell them what they need to hear. And if they refuse to listen, then you need to put your health first, because no trophy is greater than that. None. And what I would say is that if you want to be smart, to first reverse diet a few months well in advance of your prep so you can lose fat on a higher amount of calories. Something I was talking about a little bit earlier. So reverse diet, like if you know your show's not till May, and that means that 16 weeks out is sometime in January, take some time off. Before, if it's September, it's October, it's August, whatever, use that time to reverse diet, get your calories up so that way you can really set yourself up to be successful and not have to starve yourself small. So that's what I want to talk. That's all I want to say on that. I don't want to spend too much time, but I think it's a really important thing that not enough coaches say to people, period. And you know I'm different. I'm that beacon of light for you, and I'm here to support you and help you to get to your best. So it's got to go. It cannot go unsaid. So let's get into my personal favorite method of contest prep dieting, what I see as a healthier approach to the game, and that's through carb cycling. And carb cycling works well with many different body types, okay? And it allows for the benefits you get from doing a few days of low carbs and how you can push fat loss along and see greater progress and change. It really puts that in the forefront. But the magic is actually in that high carb day. And what that high carb day does, honey, it's going to up your leptin levels. And leptin is like your master hormone level that hormones, leptin is your master hormone that controls metabolism and all the other processes that are involved with that. So when leptin starts to drop, you are going to see a stall and plateau. But as leptin comes up, you are going to start seeing your body change. T3, thyroid hormone, is another thing that gets down-regulated when you diet. The longer you diet, it gets up-regulated directly from doing high-carb refeeds. And a bunch of other metabolism-boosting hormones that get down-regulated during the dieting process, they also get up-regulated during this time when you do the refeeds. So refeeds are super important, and they should definitely be a part of your plan. Now, the other thing that I love about carb cycling is that it's the perfect way to test out your peak week. And you can fine tune that baby each and every week as you get closer to your show. And when I tell you, I am not kidding you, carb cycling, we start carb cycling around like 8 weeks out with my clients, and we have 8 weeks to perfect that. We have 8 weeks to figure it out. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference. So try it and watch what happens with you when you get to that final week of the show. We're going to talk about that in greater detail later on, actually. And yeah, that's all I want to cover for this. So you know what? Let's move on. I just started to zone out for a minute, but because I was thinking about the peak week, and I got a little bit on a tangent there. But let me go ahead and get back on. Pull it back in, Roxie. So let's talk about the basic carb cycle setup and how I like to do this. Now, because we're talking about contest prep in specifics, I set this up in a way to work in congruency with a contest prep. But this can apply for those of you who may be watching this that's not in a prep. This can also apply to you as well in the way that you set up a carb cycle. So basically, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are the low carb days for my clients. Sometimes I'll even put Saturday in there as a low carb day as well. It just depends on how much we need to push their diet. Now let's talk about the low carb days. I know some of you guys out there are doing low carbs and you're eating like 30 grams of carbs a day, 50 grams of carbs a day. And I don't know how on God's green earth you can function. A lot of you can't function. Have you ever been there? Like the brain fog, like crappy lifting, feeling like really lethargic, like you're eating too little carbs. And see, that's the thing about the misinformation that's out there in this industry. Lyle McDonald is somebody I want you guys to look up. I want you to look up Lyle McDonald. He's a researcher, and he's written a lot of books about fat loss, dieting, and all this other stuff. And scientifically, like he breaks down the science of it all. And one of the things that he mentions in one of his books that I've read, and I actually apply it with my clients when we're doing any kind of a carb cycle setup. And he found that like, as long as you stay at 100 grams or below on a low carb day, if being a ketogenic state is important to you, you can reach ketosis that low. And you don't really ever need to go below 80 grams per day. And when you think about it, like that's probably a very wise idea because we're supposed to be dieting in smarter ways to help you to maintain muscle as we lose fat. And so you got to be able to train. You got to be able to push weight, and you can't push weight if you don't if you don't have enough carbohydrates in your diet to support that. Now, the other thing about the carb cycle, the low carb day that I set up is that the fats are high. And let me say it again, because some of y'all don't get that. I've seen people do low carbs with low fats, and that's never going to work. All that's going to do, it's going to crash your metabolism. It's going to just do everything the opposite of what you want it to do. It's going to slow things down, because fats and carbs work conversely, actually. So as one goes down, the other one needs to come up. Let me say it again. With carbohydrates, or carbs and fats, as one goes down, the other one comes up. And the reason why is because the body likes to use those as those are your energy resources, okay? And so if the body doesn't have enough carbs in it, it's going to turn to fat for the energy resource. If it doesn't have enough fats, it's going to use carbs. If it doesn't have enough of both, guess what it's going to use? Protein. Mm-hmm. And you know what's made out of protein? Your muscle. That's how you end up losing muscle on any kind of a diet that's not set up in a way that makes sense. So don't do it. Keep protein moderate to high as well. And along with your weight training, that's going to help you to maintain muscle even while in a caloric deficit. Now, this is where healthy fats do take center stage. So I like to just, when I do client plans and we're on a carb cycle, we are eating stuff like coconut oil, avocados, olive oil, nuts of all kinds and flavors, nut butters. Those things are really, really great. Fish oil. Those things are really important parts of a great sound contest prep plan. So make sure you include those as well. And also doing higher cuts of meat. Higher fatty cuts of meat, like salmon and like beef and stuff like that, like top sirloin. All that kind of stuff is really great for, including on a low carb day. So definitely consider that. Now, in addition to that, even though this is a low carb day, it's not called no carb day. Okay? It's not called no carb day. It's called low carb. So we actually do have some carbs in there, like oats, rice, grains, potatoes, all that stuff. And just do it in a way that keeps the carbs overall throughout the day lower. That's what we do. And this at least gives my clients the opportunity to have the strength to be able to train, to be able to work out and to do what they have to do. So that's how I do a basic setup when it comes to the low carbs. Now, talking about the high carb days. Now, usually what I like to do is do my high carb days on Wednesdays. And on Wednesdays, I do it then because I like to do it 3 days out from a show. Now, what are we doing with the carb cycle? Remember, we're carb cycling in order to practice the peak over and over and over and over again, right? So you put it on Wednesday, and now I get to go ahead and throw the carbohydrates at my clients. I get to see them fill up and spill, and then I get to watch how many days it takes them to get back to baseline leanness and even drop a couple of pounds in the process. And we tweak that all the way into the show. And then the peak week becomes a breeze because we know what to do. So on the high carb days, this is where, honey, we go crazy. Okay. Like I always give my clients waffles. I don't know why. I know why. Because I feel like it's like a great break from eating oats every day for breakfast. Who doesn't like waffles? And like, it's a great high carbohydrate food to include on any plan to bump up those carbs and do what we got to do on the carb cycle. Okay. So I like to do that. I like to do oats. I love to do like white potatoes or red potatoes. Yams is fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. Pasta. Who wants to eat pasta? Raise your hand. Type it in the comments. Roxie, I love pasta. Type it in the comments because you can have that on your high carb day. It's low in fat, and that's the thing. You just got to keep the fats low, keep the carbs high, and you're good. And aim for high carbs, you guys. Like, I'm talking like over 200 grams in that sitting on that refeed day. That's what's really going to get you. Not 150 grams of carbs or just 120. That's not a high carb day. High carb means 200 and above. Take your body weight, multiply it by 2. That's how many carbs you eat in a day. All right. For some of you, that's going to shock the hell out of you. But guess what? You're going to start seeing your body do what you have to do. So it's game on. Open up your choices. This is when you start seeing people who do carb cycling. You see them on Instagram and stuff, and they post like all those crazy pictures. It's because they learned how to use this. They learned how to use this to their advantage. So trust it. So can you really do, if it fits your macros, IIFYM and flexible dieting during prep and still look great? That's a question I get all the time. You got that in your mind? Because guess what my answer is? To a degree, yes, you can. To a degree, okay? So my clients diet with cheat meals every single week for about up to 8 weeks out. And then after that, we do them like every other week, or we replace them with full-on refeeds instead, starting at 6 weeks out and beyond. So, we try to really keep things curtailed, and we try to keep a pulse on things, but do things the right way. Cheat meals and refeeds, guys, are a crucial part of the equation. They keep your metabolism up and going. I talked about that a little bit earlier. But here's the thing, though. You need to stay in control so that way you don't get off track. So that way you don't start eating and eating and eating. Before you know, you've eaten yourself to oblivion. And you got to go to your coach now and say, I don't know why I had progress. Actually, I do know why, because I went crazy on my cheat meal. You can't do that, you guys. You got to step up to the plate and be responsible as competitors. And definitely put yourself out there. And definitely take responsibility, but do it smart. Now, the other thing that I want to point out to you, in case you didn't realize it, is that if it fits your macros, is actually no different than having a meal plan. Because how do you think meal plans are even made? Like, when I do a meal plan, what I do is I'll figure out your macros and calories for the day. And then I'm going to look over your likes, dislikes, sensitivities, allergies, consider all our goals and where we're headed. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to create the perfect plan for you. And as I'm crafting it, I'm trying to meet these caloric numbers and I'm trying to meet the macro numbers. So it ain't rocket science. It's just science. It's just putting it together. And with if it fits your macros, I mean, basically speaking, whether you track throughout the day using my FitnessPal or something similar, or you use it to set up your own kind of diet that you might do like every morning and like whatever, however you set it up, it's no different than doing a meal plan, and you can do it in a sane way. Now, here's the thing. Here's the rule. Stay in control and don't try to eat crap or shit every day, okay? Don't try to eat crap every day, you guys, because that's not going to get you anywhere where you want to be. You got to stay in control. You got to take responsibility. I've got clients who are doing If It Fits Your Macros right now in my Inner Circle coaching program, where they are dropping. One of my clients, she just dropped like 2 pounds in a week. 1 to 2 pounds a week is normal fat loss, weight loss. She dropped about a good 2 pounds in just 1 week doing If It Fits Your Macros, because she's being responsible with it. So when I tell you that it's possible, it's possible. In fact, flexible dieting as a whole has helped my clients to curb a majority, if not all of their cravings, and still stay focused and on track. It keeps, I'm telling you, I cannot stress enough how adding food variety in and of itself can help you to stay on track. I mean, how do you feel when you're eating the same thing every single day, day in, day out? It's the same thing. I mean, it's no wonder you can't follow a diet. It's not even your fault. Whoever gave you the plan didn't know what the hell they were doing. So my question to you is, why are you standing for that? Why are you allowing that to happen? Okay? Don't allow that to happen. You know what I do with my clients? This is what we do. We have a special calculator that allows them to swap things out and still stay on plan. So let's say like on their plan, they have 100 grams of, I don't know, I'm going to pull something out of my head. Beef. Let's say there's steak. 100 grams of steak on meal 3. And today they want salmon. Today they want ground turkey. Today they want chicken. They want a pork chop. They want lamb. They want venison. They want beef. I mean, not beef. They want bison. They want whatever. Halibut, black cod, I don't care. They want something else except for the damn steak. So they go to the calculator, they use that to swap things out. You tell it 100 grams of, it says like, choose what you want. What's on the plan? Boom, steak, top sirloin. How much of the weight is on there? Boom, 100 grams. And then boom, it's going to bring up a whole list of stuff we already got in the database. So you just pick the food and it tells them what the exchange is. So like 100 grams of steak is like 150 grams of chicken, or 150 grams of tilapia, whatever. But it does the work. But all of my clients do that. And it has not thrown off a prep yet at all. So when I sit here and tell you that variety is the spice of life, and variety is the thing, and then is the key to keeping you on track for your long-term goals with your prep, or even for those of you who are just dieting to diet, I kid you not, it's so important. So now I know what you got in the back of your head, though. So let's go ahead and get to the real nitty-gritty about cheat meals. Okay, so you probably want to ask me, Roxie, how can I incorporate cheat meals, and when should I drop them? So I love cheat meals, in case you haven't heard me say it again. I mean, I'm really sitting here like I'm hungry and I'm like, oh my God, I could go for a burger right now. Today is not burger day. And according to my rules, I can't have it today. So I'm going to tell you about my rules in a bit. But I mean, they're part of the plan, you guys. I just recently dropped 10 pounds on my own. Nobody helped me. I wrote myself a plan out. I just dropped 10 pounds. And I did that also by keeping things in my diet that I love. So when I sit here and tell you firsthand that it's possible, honey, it's possible. So why are you still doing the same damn thing and not getting results? That's my question to you. But we'll leave that for later. So here are my ultimate cheat meal rules. So you want to keep them during the weekends. Nothing sucks more than having your cheat meal on Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever. And then you got to get back on plan right away. Don't do that to yourself. Do not do that to yourself. Put them on the weekends and see it as like a reward for doing well during the week. See it as like that, hey, pat on the back. Hey, girl, we did it. Now I want to have that, whatever the XYZ. So keep it on the weekends. Know what you want to have. If you've been craving buffalo wings, damn it, have the buffalo wings. If you want to have a burger and fries, have a burger and fries. If you want pizza, have the pizza. You want sushi, have the sushi. Whatever it is you want. Whatever it is you want. And I don't have restrictions for my clients. I just tell them these rules. This is what I say to them. And they see the most amazing progress. And they stay responsible. One of the other things I think is really important is to order out or go to a restaurant. Don't bring anything home. I don't even like having clients cook at home. Like if you're cooking at home, then you have more of a chance of eating more than you need to. At least in a restaurant, you finish it, it's done. It ain't in your face. You ain't got to look at it. You just keep on going. So eat at a restaurant, eat out. That's probably the best way to try to keep everything in control. And do not bring anything home. No doggy bags, no extras, no nothing. Don't bring a plate home for whomever. Leave it at the restaurant. Finish it. And that's it. Done. Over with. Enjoy the meal. Why the heck are you going to eat it and then feel guilty when you know it's a part of your plan? It's not a cheat. And I hate the word cheat. I like to call them free meals. It's not a cheat unless it's off plan and you didn't plan for it. That's a cheat. But this is actually a part of the equation. So don't feel guilty about it. Enjoy it. Kill a craving. You want some chocolate cake? Go have the damn chocolate cake. Okay? Why are you not having the chocolate cake? Go on and just eat it. Don't do anything that's going to make you try to okay, well, I get a cheat meal, so I'm just going to eat clean. Just eat a little extra. No, that's not what it's about. Kill the craving. Get over it. And move on so we can do what we have to do to get you looking like a freaking star on stage. A rock star. And I always get the question about alcohol, so of course I had to address it. And I say, yes, you can have a little. Now, when you get to about 8 weeks out, honey, you need to drop the alcohol. Ain't no alcohol after 8 weeks. And for some of y'all, that's 10 weeks. Okay? But a glass of wine, a small cocktail, one. Let me say it again. Did you hear me? I said one. Okay? Don't go crazy, you guys. Really. Nurse that baby because alcohol is calories too. And then here's the other kicker. What your body's going to do in order to metabolize alcohol, it's going to actually prioritize it. And it's going to still, if you've eaten, with a meal, whatever, it's going to still process everything else, of course, but it's going to give first priority to try to get that alcohol out of your system. So now you have a greater chance of storing whatever you eaten as fat. So don't go crazy. Do not go crazy with the alcohol, but you can have it. Just drop it around 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out for some of you. Have a dessert. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, have a dessert. Doesn't have to be a huge thing. It doesn't have to be a 3-course meal, but a small dessert. If you want a piece of cake, go get a cupcake maybe. Something small. You want a cookie? Go get a cookie. Whatever. Soft bake. Those are good. Enjoy it though. Just don't go freaking insane, you guys. That's the only thing. Just don't go insane like you done lost your damn mind. You will be okay. If you do that, you're going to be fine. Don't go insane. Just enjoy it and keep it moving along. Oh, the last thing I do want to say is you want to keep it as the final meal of the day and then get back on track the next day. That's it. Keep it as the final meal. So that way, again, end of the week, final meal, you get to enjoy it. You're full. You're done. You don't have to worry about getting back on plan again, doing this whole thing over again, and all the mental mind taffy that comes with that. Take your butt to bed, go to sleep, and get back on your plan the next day. And that's how you use cheap meals or free meals, as I like to call them in my practice. That's how you use them to your advantage without having them hold you back. So So the next thing I want to talk about now is finally getting into the peak week stuff. So peak week diet secrets to come in on point and not spill over, because that's the important part. If you coming in on point and you've spilled over, that sucks. If you're flat, that sucks. So we want you to be, boom, there in the pocket. So if you followed my earlier advice, peak week actually becomes literally fully predictable. Fully predictable, you guys. And I promise you, listen, I'm not lying to you when I'm telling you this. I'm like being mad serious, yo. Like this is how I run my contest prep. I never have a question about what's going on. I never wonder how a client is going to look. For those of you that are seasoned athletes, when's the last time you went into a show and you knew exactly what the coach was going to do with you the last week, what you were going to look like by the end of that stuff that your coach was doing? Have you ever had that kind of security where you could just sail in and you know, yep, I'm coming on just fine because I already know, I already ran this, I did this. That's what this is, guys. That is the important part. That is how you win at this game. It's no voodoo. It's no science, no secret. It's smart. It's something that I've developed, and like I said, it's fully predictable, and I love it. And you'll love it too. Now, if you do this, listen, you won't spill. If you learn how to master carb cycling, you will never have that problem. And exactly how your body reacts during the process. If you practice, you're going to know. You're going to know that you might need to put your carb up personally on maybe Tuesday instead of Wednesday, or Thursday instead of Wednesday. You're going to know how long it takes for your body to just lose the water and to come in looking tighter than you ever have before. But that's how you master it week to week to week. Now, speaking of that, I actually do prefer to have the carb up 3 days out from my show. So if the show is on Saturday, we like to do it on Wednesday. If the show is on Friday, you do it on Tuesday, and vice versa, 3 days out. Because what that allows you is that you can easily clean things up if you do spill, which we do expect to. But if you spill too much, it's easier to clean it up at like two days out than it is 2 hours out. You wake up in the morning and you're so watered over, there's nothing you can do. You have spent your entire 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, 24 weeks, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is that you chose to put the work into your prep, showing up at the gym, doing all that cardio, working your ass off, literally off. And you throw it away because your coach didn't peak you right. Because you got on stage looking stringy because you didn't fill out enough. Or because you got on stage looking just not ready, spilled over because you had too much of a carb up and there's nothing you could do to fix it. That sucks. It sucks. I know it sucks. So being smart about how you do it 3 days out, honey, I'm telling you, you can tweak it 2 days out. You can do it maybe 4 days out, but 4 days is pushing it a little bit too far. But you'll know when you do this the right way. Now, here's another thing about peak week. And this isn't food, but it is related to your final look, and that's about water. Here's a trick, okay? Write this down. Drink more water, not less water. 2 to 2.5 gallons every single day going into your show. Okay, so let's talk about this because I know some of you guys have been on contest prep plans where you were told to drop your water out, stop drinking water and dehydrate about a week before, 10 days before. And you're doing all this voodoo, like carb loading and this, that, and the third. You're doing all this stuff that essentially is going to just make you look worse. Here's the science. Okay, this is how this works. It works without failure. 2 to 2.5 gallons every single day going into your show, okay? And with my clients, we actually start that at 2 weeks out when we run my specialized mock peak. I have a specialized way of working with clients where I take them through their personalized peak week, including workouts, cardio, diet, and everything. And water manipulation, we run it. We know exactly what's going to happen. And one of those things is part of that, they've been drinking gallons of water starting at 2 weeks out for 14 days. That's why they're coming in so damn hard looking. It's because of this. Now, here's the thing. There's a hormone in your body called aldosterone, and it is the hormone that really regulates water balance in the body, specifically, you know, with sodium, and a bunch of other electrolytes, and water. Now, the more water you drink, okay, you're drinking a bunch of water, the more that starts to dilute your balance, your sodium and water balance in the body. So aldosterone's like, all right, let me go on and get here to work now. Let me get on here and start helping you to get this off, get this water off. We're going to take it out because the sodium is going down. We got to bring it up. So let's go ahead and get it off, pee it off. And you're in the bathroom like, I don't know, like 50 times a day. But you're looking tighter every single day. And you're like, wow, how does this work? That's how it works. It's science. It is freaking science, you guys. So when I tell you that this works, it works. Try it. The next time you find yourself bloated and like retaining water and like you just feel like a water buffalo, drink 2 to 2.5 gallons every single day for a couple of days and watch what happens with your body. You're going to start losing that water. It's a trick. It works every single time. And that's what you want to do for your peak to dry out. Now, here's the next thing that's really super important. And I want to bold this, underline it, highlight it, everything, because this is really super important. This actually can affect your life. People have died because of this next thing. And I want you to avoid this like the plague. Do not, under any circumstance, manipulate your sodium. Now, I know some coaches do that, and it's a very tricky thing. And for those of you who've ever played around with your sodium, you know how much of a hit or miss that is. Like, you could possibly come in tighter, but you could possibly come in flat as a pancake. You could also possibly come in way too watery. And that happens when your coach doesn't know what they're doing and they start manipulating your stuff. And then on top of it, they add diuretics. And now you're in a basic shitstorm. Okay? And the reason why, you guys, I say it's not safe is because I've been down that road. I know what that's like. I literally have blacked out on stage because of this water manipulation thing. And then adding a diuretic and then cutting salt. And this was under the direction of a coach I hired. All against my better judgment. I knew, but I was doing what I was told and thought that maybe, if I do this, I'll come in even tighter. It was the worst decision ever. So I want you to not do that. Okay, so do not cut your sodium, please. If your life means something to you, do not cut it. You can die. You can die. And I'm not being like, facetious. I mean, you can really die. People have died of this. Diuretics, sodium loss, water cut completely. It's a perfect storm for shit to hit the fan. So finally, last thing I want to say about this is to run your peak week at 2 weeks out. I already talked about that. Every single client of mine does a mock peak going into every single show, and it's custom tailored for them. So the peak isn't like something that like everybody does. Oh, this is the peak, just follow the peak. No, I'm actually custom tailoring your peak, and every single day for 14 days, every single day. Let me say it again. Every single day for 14 days, you are giving me an update with your pictures, with your measurements, with how you're feeling, and with video every day. Because I want to see you in action. I want to see you turning around. I want to see that this peak week is doing exactly what we needed to do. And because of that, we almost have no problems at all when it comes to our work, guys. And most of all, we have no post-show rebounds ever. My clients don't go through that. A lot of that has to do with the fact that we diet smarter. So your body isn't all over the place by the end of the prep. A lot of that also has to do with not manipulating everything under the sun and trying to do all this voodoo to just make your body come together and cause a rebound in and of itself. And then the last part of it is a reverse diet. Because at the end, you guys, it's all about being smarter about what we do as athletes.